Her hand trembled as she placed the white lilies on her father's casket. A flicker, barely there, crossed her face when the priest said he leaves behind his loving daughter and her devoted husband. Devoted. She didn't look at me when the word echoed through the hall. I watched her instead, the way her jaw tightened, how her eyes refused to meet mine. Around us, grief dripped from false lips, a room full of suits who practiced sorrow like choreography. Her father's death had turned the boardroom into a feeding pit, and she was already circling it. After the burial, the condolences came in waves. The CEO was gone. By nightfall, she was the new one. They said it like destiny. I knew better. When I got home, the message was waiting. Board meeting Monday. Transition of authority. A promotion for her. A reminder for me. I poured a drink, watched the amber swirl in the glass. 71%. That's what I owned. Quietly, legally, secretly. I never told her, not even once in 7 years. Now, I was glad I hadn't. It started the next morning. A look from one of the board members. A look that lingered too long, heavy with things unsaid. Then the whispers. Sudden meetings I wasn't invited to. Calendar entries vanishing from my shared files. She grew distant, not the kind that comes from grief, but the kind that comes from calculation. At night, she'd stare at her laptop, lit by the glow of power. Once I asked if she was okay. She said, "It's just work." But her smile was the kind you give before a knife goes in. A week later, I walked into my office to find 2 men waiting, security badges gleaming, eyes averted. Behind them, the head of HR stood holding an envelope. Her voice was polite, rehearsed. "The board has voted to terminate your position, effective immediately. No warning, no conversation, just pack your things." I stared at the glass walls, the skyline, the office I had built. Then at her name etched on the door opposite mine. I smiled, thanked them, and left. They thought that was the end. They thought I was finished. Monday would be fun. That weekend I didn't sleep. I studied. Emails, meeting minutes, contract trails, every line of ownership, every document her father had signed before his heart gave out. She thought she inherited control. She didn't realize he'd transferred 71% of the company into a silent trust years ago. My name, my signature, my power. It was all there, buried beneath layers of corporate fog. But what interested me more was why she'd done it. Why she'd convinced the board to cut me loose so fast. Her laptop was synced to our cloud. Old habits die hard. That's how I saw the messages. He doesn't know anything. Once the vote's done, we'll move the assets quietly. Then he's gone for good. The sender was a name I recognized. Her father's vice chair. The man who gave the eulogy at the funeral. The one who'd hugged her longer than necessary. I watched their words scroll like rot on a white screen. So that was it. Not just betrayal. Merger of convenience. She'd found her replacement long before her father's casket closed. The truth arrived on Sunday. Paper, signatures, timestamps, everything aligned. I printed nothing. No drama, no confrontation. Just quiet understanding. That evening, I found her in the study, rehearsing for Monday's press conference. Her voice carried the weight of power, soft and convincing. I watched her from the doorway. "Do you need anything?" I asked. She turned, startled. "You shouldn't be here." "Just passing through," I said. "Didn't want to interrupt the Queen." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't start." I smiled. "I won't." I handed her the tablet. The document was open. The trust agreement. Her father's signature glowing in digital ink. She read it, then read it again. Color drained from her face. "You?" "Yes," I said softly. "Me." She shook her head, disbelief breaking into anger. "You hid this from me?" "I protected what your father built. From people who destroy it." Her lips trembled. "You mean from me?" Silence. Her reflection in the window looked smaller than I remembered. Monday morning. She stood before the cameras, poised and immaculate, the young widow stepping into legacy. I sat in the back of the boardroom, unseen, uninvited. When the legal officer entered and whispered in the chairman's ear, the room froze. Then came the words. "After reviewing the trust's controlling shares, it appears that Mr. Hale holds the majority ownership." Every head turned. Her smile faltered. The cameras caught it, the exact moment her world cracked. I stood, adjusted my tie, and walked to the front. "Thank you," I said calmly, "but I won't be assuming the CEO position." Gasps. Confusion. "I'm selling my stake, effective immediately, to an outside buyer." I looked at her then, straight into the hollow of her eyes. "Enjoy your kingdom," I said. "It won't exist by next quarter." I left the room as her voice broke behind me, half a sob, half a curse. The board didn't follow. They just watched. Because everyone loves a quiet execution. I drove without direction for hours. The city lights blurred into ribbons, the skyline shrinking in the mirror. I didn't feel triumph, just stillness. Betrayal has a sound. It's not loud. It's the click of a door closing behind you when you finally walk away. Her company would crumble under the weight of its own greed. She'd spend years clawing at the ruins, wondering where she went wrong. But I wouldn't be there to watch. Some victories don't need witnesses. As dawn crept over the horizon, I parked by the sea. The tide erased every footprint on the sand. Perfect. I whispered to no one, Monday was fun. Then I smiled, and drove into the new week as if she'd never existed.